The Galactic Council Hall shimmered like a sea of stars, alien voices echoing across the chamber, each one filled with pride and arrogance. They gathered to discuss the same topic that had become a joke among empires: Earth, the quiet blue planet on the edge of the spiral arm, a world that never spoke, never answered, never bowed. For 2 centuries, probes had been sent, signals transmitted, envoys dispatched, but every attempt ended in silence. The humans had vanished from galactic communication, leaving the council confused, amused, and insulted. A tall, crimson-skinned delegate from the Zorath Dominion banged his staff and laughed. "Maybe their species is extinct," he said. "Maybe their world burned itself out, just like their noisy wars." The room burst into laughter, but not everyone was laughing. At the far end of the chamber, Ambassador Terrell of the Luran Empire sat in silence. His silver eyes watched the holographic image of Earth spinning slowly in the void. "Silence on a death world is never peace," he said quietly. "It is preparation." The others ignored him. They always did. To them, Earth was a failed experiment, a violent world unfit for civilization, yet for reasons no one understood. No alien ship that entered the Sol system had ever returned. Reports from exploration fleets spoke of ships vanishing near the asteroid belt, of scanners going blind, of unknown interference signals. Each time the Council dismissed it as myth. Ghost stories from frightened captains, they said. But fear had begun to spread quietly, like a shadow beneath laughter, in the dark void of the Milky Way. Earth waited, unseen, unchanged. The planet looked calm from space, oceans shimmering, continents breathing under the soft glow of the sun. Yet beneath the surface, something ancient stirred, deep under the ice of Antarctica. Sealed chambers hummed with forgotten power. Hinds older than the Council itself woke from centuries of rest. In hidden vaults, human engineers whispered to their machines, their hands trembling with anticipation. "Activate the last sequence," a voice commanded in the darkness. The lights flared blue. Ancient systems roared to life, and a symbol appeared on the screen. A rising phoenix made of fire and steel. The humans had not been silent out of fear. They had been silent because they were building. Far above the Earth, in low orbit, old satellites came online one by one, relaying encrypted pulses across the solar system. On Mars, miners stopped their drills and stared at the sky as red dust shimmered with strange light. On Luna, hidden bases that no alien had ever seen powered up again. The signal was simple, repeated across every human outpost. Awakening protocol, stand ready. Down in the streets of New London, people carried on their lives, unaware of what had begun. Children laughed, cities glowed, oceans sparkled. But in the hidden layers beneath civilization, Earth's greatest secret moved. Humanity had watched the galaxy for centuries, unseen through cloaked satellites and deep space drones. They learned the languages, studied the weapons, observed the arrogance, and waited. For every insult the Council had spoken, Earth had recorded 1,000 responses, not in words, but in silence. Back in the Council Hall, a nervous aide approached the Zorath delegate, whispering, "Sir, the last exploration fleet to the Sol system. No response. All contact lost." The laughter stopped for a brief second, then started again, forced and uneasy. Ambassador Terrell rose to his feet, his voice calm but cold. "You mock the silence of a world that once terrified your ancestors. You think quiet means weak, but Deathworlders do not sleep. They sharpen their claws in the dark." The chamber fell silent. No one wanted to admit fear, yet everyone felt it. The lights flickered for a moment, and the hologram of Earth grew brighter. Its blue oceans pulsed faintly, as if alive. Across the void, deep inside the moon's hidden core, a new sound echoed, a low, rhythmic vibration. The sensors called it a resonance anomaly, but it was something far older. A heartbeat, Earth's heartbeat. On the dark side of the moon, a massive structure began to unfold, smooth metal plates rising like wings. The first Terran orbital ring reactivated, ancient cannons realigned, energy fields stabilized, and a single code streamed to every human system: "The silence ends soon." At the same time, a small alien research ship near Pluto detected a strange transmission. Before the crew could record it, their systems froze, lights dimmed, the engines failed, and a human voice spoke through their comms, slow, calm, and terrifyingly clear. "This is Earth Command. You are trespassing." The crew screamed. Their captain tried to respond, but the transmission cut off. Their ship drifted silently, dead in space. A week later, only fragments of the vessel reached the nearest relay station, burned black and fused like melted glass. Back on the Council world, rumors spread faster than truth. Some said Earth had awakened an ancient weapon. Others claimed humans had ascended into something beyond flesh. No one knew, because no one dared to go near Saul anymore. Ambassador Terrell looked at the image of the blue planet again, whispering to himself, "You warned them once, didn't you, Earth? You warned them with silence." In the heart of the galaxy, laughter died, replaced by unease. The mighty empires who once ruled the stars now watched the quiet system at the edge of the spiral arm, afraid of what might rise from it. And far away, in a command bunker under the frozen ground of Antarctica, a woman in a dark uniform looked up at the glowing screen. The words blinked before her eyes. "Project Aurora. Phase 1 complete." She smiled faintly. "Let them laugh," she whispered. "They will. I'll understand soon enough." Outside, the aurora lights danced across the polar sky, glowing brighter than ever before, signaling the return of Earth's forgotten power. Humanity's silence was ending, and the galaxy had no idea what was coming. Deep beneath the frozen crust of Antarctica, the control center of Project Aurora glowed with blue light. Engineers and soldiers moved through steel corridors as massive generators hummed like sleeping beasts. For 200 years, humanity had built this place in secret, layer by layer, hidden from every alien sensor and every probe that dared to scan Earth. They had learned from the galaxy's arrogance. Every alien race had shown its weapons, its fleets, its pride. Humanity had shown nothing. They had gone silent, letting the universe believe they were extinct, weak, or afraid. But under that silence, they prepared. Commander Ilara Voss stood before a giant holomap of the solar system, her reflection caught in the glass. She was calm, her eyes cold, her voice echoed through the command hall. "Initiate full system sync. Engage orbital recon channels. Let's wake the fleet." All around her, officers began typing commands. One by one, signals reached out to Mars, Luna, Titan, and Europa. Ancient machines stirred in response, engines whirring after centuries of stillness. On Mars, deep under the red dunes, the Crimson Bastion facility powered up. Massive hangar doors opened, revealing black triangular ships resting in silence. Their hulls shimmered as light rippled across them, awakening dormant nanotechnology. A single word appeared on every display screen: Aurora Online. On Luna, hidden bases beneath the Sea of Tranquility activated. Dozens of satellites rose from their craters, connecting into an invisible web of defense. Their purpose was simple: shield Earth from any invasion. The Terran defense grid was alive again. Meanwhile, in Earth's orbit, the old Titan-class dreadnoughts awoke, machines of myth and terror. Their metal hulls reflected sunlight like blades. Within moments, power surged through their cores, forgotten systems reconnecting to Aurora's AI mainframe. And deep within the AI chamber, a voice spoke for the first time in centuries, calm and human-like. "This is Aurora Prime. Operational integrity confirmed, awaiting orders." Commander Ilara closed her eyes for a moment. She remembered the stories her ancestors told, of how the galaxy mocked Earth, how they laughed when humans fell silent. "Not anymore," she said quietly. "It's time they remember who we are." Across the Milky Way, alien sensors began to detect strange anomalies from Sol, energy spikes unlike anything recorded before. Reports reached the Galactic Council, confusion spreading among the members. "The humans," one delegate muttered. "Impossible. They vanished ages ago." Another hissed. "Our fleets near the outer rim are detecting energy distortions. Something is waking." Ambassador Terrell listened in silence. His earlier warning echoed through the hall, but now even he felt a chill. "They are awakening," he whispered, "and the galaxy will never be the same." Back on Earth, the first phase of activation ended. Commander Ilara walked into the central chamber where a massive circular window opened to the frozen wasteland outside. Through it, she could see the faint glow of the auroras twisting across the night sky. Her second-in-command, Captain Ryan Holt, approached. "All systems are synced, Commander. The old networks are stable, but some power conduits are unstable. We're rerouting." Ilara nodded. We have waited too long, Captain. Humanity's silence must end not with words, but with strength. At that moment, the ground beneath them trembled slightly. Far below, massive doors opened beneath the Antar. Codic ice revealing something the galaxy had long forgotten. A ship so enormous that it dwarfed any alien vessel ever built. The HSS Revenant, the first Titan-class warship, rose from the icy depths, its engines glowing like miniature suns. Ice cracked and melted around it as it ascended into the night. The ship's outer hull bore the same symbol, the phoenix, rising from fire and steel. People around the world looked up, seeing strange lights in the sky. Some thought it was another aurora. Others whispered it was an omen. Few understood that history was awakening above them. Within hours, every Terran outpost across the system received the same encrypted message. Phase 2, eyes open. On the moons of Jupiter, mining crews stopped work as holographic banners of Earth appeared above their domes. Stand ready, the message repeated. Humanity rises. The galaxy's major empires began scrambling fleets toward the Sol border, terrified by the unknown. Yet none of their ships could penetrate the strange electronic fog now surrounding Earth's system. Their communications failed, sensors jammed, navigation disrupted. It was as if the solar system had vanished into a void, untouchable, unseen. Inside the command chamber, Alara stood before the projection of Aurora's AI core, the digital woman's face flickering softly. "Aurora," she said, "activate the veil." The AI's eyes glowed blue. "Stealth field engaged, Commander. Sol is hidden from all external scans." Alara's lips curved into a faint smile. "Let the galaxy laugh one last time," she said. "When they realize the truth, it will already be too late." Beyond Earth's orbit, the first Terran patrol ships began their silent sweep. Their engines emitted no detectable energy, their movements cloaked in gravitational bends. They glided past the asteroid belt like ghosts, watching, listening, recording. Humanity had always been underestimated. The galaxy thought silence meant weakness, but for humans, silence was patience, and patience was power. The stars above shimmered as the Terran armada slowly came to life. Each ship a relic of forgotten wars. Each one rebuilt stronger than before. In hidden labs, human scientists whispered as new engines roared to life. Engines not fueled by fusion or antimatter, but something entirely new. "Neural drive online," one scientist said. "Quantum link established," another smiled. "The galaxy will hear us now." Commander Alara turned to the massive viewing window once again. Earth glowed beneath her, a world both fragile and infinite. "We were silent because they never listened," she said softly. "Now we will speak, and they will listen forever." High above the clouds, the HSS Revenant moved into position, its colossal shadow cutting across the stars. In that moment, humanity's silence ended, not with noise, but with awakening. The galaxy had laughed at Earth's stillness, but soon their laughter would fade, replaced by fear, because the Deathworlders had finally opened their eyes, and the universe was not ready. The Galactic Council was in chaos. Reports flooded in from every frontier post near the Sol border. Entire fleets were vanishing, sensors were blinded, and communication relays went dark. For the first time in centuries, the council chamber, usually full of arrogant laughter, was silent. "Status report," the Chancellor demanded, his voice trembling. "Are we under attack?" "No, sir," an officer replied. We don't know who to fight. There's nothing visible, just shadows." Ambassador Terrell leaned forward, his voice calm but sharp. "I warned you. Silence is not weakness. It's the sound of preparation." The council ignored him again, desperate to restore their pride. "We'll send a peace inspection fleet," one delegate said. "If Earth still exists, they'll answer. They always do when they're afraid." Within hours, a grand expedition fleet departed for the Sol Sea. STEM, led by Admiral Korath of the Zorath Dominion, their ships glowed like silver daggers, armed with plasma cannons and arrogance. They believed this would be a simple show of power, an inspection that would remind the silent world who ruled the stars. As they approached the outer system, their scanners went wild. Static filled every channel, strange gravitational distortions twisted space itself. "Report," Korath barked. "Why are the sensors blind?" No interference detected, sir, the technician stammered. It's like the stars themselves are gone. The fleet slowed near the orbit of Neptune. The darkness around them thickened. No stars, no planets, only endless black. Then suddenly their systems flickered, and for a heartbeat, every monitor displayed a symbol, a burning phoenix. What was that? The Admiral demanded. Who's transmitting? Before anyone could answer, a calm human voice echoed through every channel, smooth and emotionless. This is Earth Command. Identify yourselves. The Admiral froze, his scaled hands tightening on the console. Earth Command? You shouldn't exist. No response came, only the soft hum of static. Then, in the distance, a faint light appeared. Like a sunrise in deep space, it grew brighter, spreading across the void until the fleet's sensors began to overload. When the glare faded, the aliens saw them, massive black silhouettes rising from the dark. Their hulls reflected no light, their engines made no sound. Dozens of ships, human ships, surrounding them like hunters in the night. Impossible, Korath whispered. Their technology. It's beyond any known class. One of his captains panicked. Should we open fire? Korath hesitated, but pride won. Yes, fire. Let them see who commands the stars. The Zoreth fleet unleashed a storm of plasma bolts and missiles, brilliant streaks of red fire cutting through the void. But before they reached their targets, the projectiles vanished, absorbed into a shimmering wave of blue light that rippled around the human ships like water. Then the humans answered, not with explosions, but with silence. Their ships emitted no visible weapon discharge, no sound. Yet, one by one, the alien ships began to lose power. Their engines dimmed, their weapons froze, their lights flickered out. Within minutes, the mighty Zoreth fleet drifted powerless, dead in space. Systems offline, the technicians cried. Something's overriding our cores. It's not hacking, it's rewriting. Korath shouted into the void. Identify yourselves. What do you want? And then came the reply, firm and final. We are humanity. The era of silence is over. The alien admiral stared at the screen, trembling. We came in peace, he lied. Peace, the voice replied. You mocked us, invaded us, dissected our message probes. You thought silence meant surrender, but silence was our strength. The human fleet began to move, slowly surrounding the alien vessels. Their massive dreadnoughts blotted out the stars, their presence alone enough to make the void feel smaller, heavier. One ship among them stood out, the HSS Revenant, its hull glowing faintly with blue veins of energy. On its bridge, Commander Alara watched through the main viewport, her hands folded behind her back. Her officers reported calmly. Enemy fleet neutralized, no casualties detected. Alara nodded. Transmit visual link. In the Zorath flagship, the main display flickered, revealing Alara's face. Her eyes glowed faintly with cybernetic blue light. Her tone was polite but cold. Admiral Korath, you trespass in restricted space. Earth's sovereignty is absolute. Leave and never return. The Admiral stammered. You can't. Your weapons are gone, Alara interrupted. Your ships are dead, and you will leave alive only because we allow it. Then the signal ended. In a flash of light, the human ships vanished, cloaked again in the blackness of space. When power returned, to the alien fleet, they realized every ship had been disabled without a single casualty. Every weapon core had been melted from the inside out with surgical precision, yet not a single life was lost. Korath looked at the ruined control panels, his pride broken. They didn't destroy us, he whispered. They humiliated us. Back in the council chamber, panic erupted as the surviving fleet transmitted their final report. Earth is awake, the message read, and their silence was never fear, it was power. Ambassador Taral closed his eyes as the chamber filled with noise and denial. You laughed at the quiet storm, he murmured. Now the storm has found its voice. Meanwhile, across the solar system, the Terran Armada prepared for the next phase. Aurora's AI spoke in the darkness. All systems synced, galactic interception networks online. Commander Alara stood on the bridge of the HSS Revenant, gazing toward the distant stars. Her reflection shimmered in the glass. They thought silence was our weakness, she said softly. They were wrong. Outside the viewport, Earth glowed in serene beauty, blue and silent as ever. But now, that silence carried a promise, one that would echo through the galaxy. The Deathworlders had spoken, and the stars would never laugh again. The Galactic Council trembled. The humiliation of the Zorath fleet had shaken every empire to its core. Entire civilizations that once mocked humanity's name now whispered it in fear. The mighty races of the stars, the Etherians, the Kroln, the Vorn Dominion, all gathered again to decide what must be done about Earth. Their voices filled the chamber, desperate, angry, and afraid. They disabled an entire fleet without firing a single visible shot, one delegate cried. That's not technology, it's sorcery. They have cloaking we cannot detect, another shouted. They could be watching us now. The Chancellor slammed his staff on the floor. Enough, he barked. We are the Council of the Galaxy. We will not cower before a single death world. But his words rang hollow. Ambassador Terrell stood again, his tone grim. You cannot fight them the way you fight each other. You never understood what humans are. They endure, they adapt, they wait, and when they rise, they do not stop. Still, the Council's pride would not bend. In secret, they formed the Coalition Armada, a massive alliance of 12 empires. Their plan was simple. Invade the solar system, overwhelm it with sheer numbers, and destroy whatever humanity had built in silence. It was a decision that would become the galaxy's greatest mistake. On the dark side of Luna, Commander Alara stood within the control core of the Terran defense grid. Dozens of holoscreens surrounded her, each displaying the incoming fleets, thousands of enemy vessels closing in from multiple directions. Captain Ryan approached. That's half the Council's strength, ma'am, he said quietly. They're coming for us with everything they have. Alara's voice was calm, steady. Then they will learn why Deathworlders do not fear numbers. Behind her, Aurora's holographic form shimmered, her digital eyes glowing bright blue. Enemy jump signatures detected, estimated time to contact, 3 hours. Shall I engage full system lockdown? Alara nodded. Do it. No transmissions in or out of Sol. From this moment, Earth is alone. Around the solar system, humanity moved as one. The dreadnoughts of the Terran Armada took formation around Earth and Mars, defense satellites aligned, cloaked strike wings spread across the asteroid belt. Each soldier, each pilot, knew the truth. This was not a war of conquest, it was survival through demonstration. The Council Armada arrived like a storm of light, filling the void with their golden ships. Millions of plasma cannons glowed red, targeting Earth's orbit. Admiral Korath, now desperate for redemption, stood at the front of the attack fleet. No warning. Bungs, he shouted. No mercy. Fire on the Death World. The void lit up as thousands of energy blasts streaked toward Earth. But before they reached the planet, the air around them seemed to bend. The shots curved, slowed, and vanished into a shimmering barrier of light. The Aegis Field, a planetary shield of unknown origin, had been activated. In response, the sky above Earth changed. Rings of silver light appeared, spinning around the planet like halos. From them descended enormous silhouettes, Terran dreadnoughts, each one larger than the alien flagships, their hulls marked with the Phoenix sigil. Targets locked, an operator reported. Alara raised her hand slightly. Disable, not destroy, she said. They need to understand. The HSS Revenant led the counterstrike, releasing waves of invisible energy across space. The alien ships that touched those waves didn't explode. They froze, their systems collapsing in silence. Engines died, weapons melted. Crews watched helplessly as their fleets drifted into the dark. From the command bridge of the lead alien vessel, Korath watched as 1/3 of his armada went dead in seconds. What is this? He screamed. They're not even firing weapons. A terrified officer shouted. It's like the vacuum itself is rejecting us. The human fleet moved gracefully through the chaos. Precise, efficient, merciful. Wherever alien ships fell, Terran rescue craft followed, pulling survivors from wreckage, giving them air, giving them life. The galaxy watched in disbelief. The humans were winning without hatred, crushing their enemies while saving their lives. Ambassador Terrell, watching from the Council's distant observation deck, whispered, This is their wrath. Cold, deliberate, merciful, unstoppable. Back in orbit, Alara's calm voice echoed across the fleet's private channel. Transmit open message to all council frequencies. Her word has spread through the stars, carried by the same silence the galaxy had once mocked. This is Commander Ilara of the Terran Union. We will not invade your worlds. We will not burn your homes. We will only remind you, Earth does not bow. Across the void, the surviving ships stopped firing. Entire fleets surrendered without a word. Their admirals wept in disbelief. The humans ceased their advance. Their ships returned to formation, silent as ghosts. On Earth, people filled the streets, watching the night sky glow with faint golden dust from shattered debris. They didn't cheer, they didn't celebrate. They simply looked up, knowing that after centuries of being mocked, they were finally free. The Council declared an immediate ceasefire. What had been an invasion had become an awakening. Later that night, in the Antarctic command chamber, Ilara stood before the great window once more. Aurora lights shimmered outside like cosmic flames. Captain Ryan joined her. "The galaxy fears us now," he said quietly. Ilara shook her head. "No, they respect us. Fear fades, but respect endures." Aurora's hologram appeared beside them, her voice calm. "Phase 4 complete. Peace request signals received from 5 major empires." Ilara turned toward the stars, her reflection merging with the light. "They wanted to see our wrath," she whispered. "Now they will see our humanity." The humans had shown mercy where others would have shown fire. They had shown restraint where others demanded blood, and across the Milky Way, the name Earth became something new, neither threat nor myth, but a promise that silence would never again be mistaken for weakness, because the Death World had spoken and the galaxy would never forget its voice. The galaxy had gone silent once again, but this time, not from arrogance or mockery. The silence now came from fear, from awe, from realization. Across countless star systems, the name Earth spread like a whisper carried on solar way. Hence, spoken in reverence and trembling respect, the once mighty Galactic Council was broken and quiet, its grand halls filled with uneasy stares instead of laughter. Every empire that once mocked humanity's stillness now watched and waited, afraid of what would come next. In the great chamber of the council, where stars once shone proudly through glass domes, a blue hologram flickered to life. It was not a message of war, not a declaration of vengeance, but a call for peace. The insignia of the Terran Union, the rising phoenix, appeared for all to see. Then came the voice, calm, human, and impossibly steady. "This is Commander Ilara Voss of Earth Command," she said, her words echoing through the hall. "The age of silence has ended." Delegates shifted uneasily. Some whispered, others bowed their heads. Even the Chancellor dared not interrupt. "For centuries," Ilara continued, "you mocked our stillness. You called us extinct, primitive, weak. But silence is not weakness. Silence is patience. It is the voice of those who do not need to shout to be heard." The hologram zoomed out, showing the shining blue planet, Earth, surrounded by its silent armada. Dreadnoughts, cruisers, and carriers formed a glowing sphere around their homeworld, each one hovering like a guardian spirit. "You feared the Death World because you never understood it," Ilara said, her eyes like ice. "You feared us because we survived what you could not. We thrived in chaos, we evolved in pain, and we learned to build beauty from war." A trembling alien delegate spoke up, his voice barely a whisper. "What do you want from us?" Ilara's gaze softened slightly. "We want peace, real peace, not the kind written in fear or arrogance. We do not seek to rule you, but we will never kneel again." The council chamber fell utterly silent. Only the hum of the hologram remained. Then, in a gesture that no one expected, Ilara raised her hand and saluted. "To every world, to every species, we extend our hand, but if you strike it again, know this. Earth will not answer with silence next time." The message ended, leaving the entire council frozen. The Chancellor slowly stood, his expression pale. "So this is what the Deathworlders have become," he whispered. "The balance of the stars has changed forever." Far away on the HSS Revenant, Commander Ilara stood on the observation deck, gazing at the curve of Earth below. The oceans glowed under the sunlight. The clouds danced like silk ribbons, and the planet looked at peace. Captain Rian approached quietly. "The Council has accepted the peace accord," he said. "They will withdraw all fleets, recognize Earth's sovereignty." Ilara nodded, her voice low. "Good. Humanity doesn't need worship, only respect." Aurora's soft voice joined them. "Protocol. Aurora is now complete. The silence era has ended. Would you like me to archive all classified war data?" Ilara smiled faintly. "No, Aurora, keep it. History should remember what silence cost the galaxy." The AI shimmered and faded, leaving the commander alone with her thoughts. In that moment, Ilara thought of the generations who had suffered humiliation, who had hidden underground, who had built in the shadows, all so that one day Earth could stand without bowing. She closed her eyes and whispered, "We were quiet so they could underestimate us. We spoke so they could never forget." Outside, the Terran Armada began to reposition, moving from defensive formation to patrol routes. The great dreadnoughts spread across the stars, not as conquerors, but as guardians, ensuring the galaxy's peace would hold. From Mars to Titan, from Luna to the icy moons of Jupiter, human colonies celebrated, children waved to the sky, knowing their world was no longer mocked, no longer forgotten. Humanity had stepped into the galactic light. On its own terms, across the Milky Way, alien broadcasts repeated one phrase again and again, translated into 1,000 languages. "Do not mystère. Key, silence for weakness." In every council record, in every academy, in every archive, that line was etched under a single image. The glowing planet Earth, ringed with light and fire, watched over by its silent guardians. As the sun set over Antarctica, Commander Ilara stood on the surface for the first time in years. The cold wind brushed her face, and the auroras shimmered in colors no human eye had ever seen. The quiet was peaceful, not the silence of fear, but of pride. She looked to the sky where the Revenant hovered faintly in orbit. "We were never the monsters they imagined," she said softly. "We were simply the reminder that even gods can bleed." Captain Rian stepped beside her, smiling faintly. "And what now, Commander?" Ilara looked back at the horizon, the dawn rising over the icy peaks. "Now?" she said. "Now, we build. We teach them what silence really means." As the light of the new day spread across the frozen continent, the aurora above shimmered brighter, forming the faint shape of a phoenix stretching its wings across the heavens. Earth had spoken, and the galaxy would listen forever. The Deathworlders had risen, not to conquer, but to remind the stars what strength, mercy, and silence truly meant. And in that silence, a new age began, the age of humanity, the age of the phoenix.